Representing Team 5 for our fse100 instrument design proposal. I am going to share a few slides with you and give you the rundown on some of the decision-making criteria and other factors that led to our design proposal. So if you bear with me for one moment, I'll go ahead and share my screen. Apologize if there's a bit of a lag. All right. So on our team is myself, Andre, Annika, and Travis. So in any engineering situation, the first thing you always want to do is get to the root of the problem and really define it. So in our situation, Maroon and Gold needed to design a very creative solution for their instruments that would be able to travel with them, function the way they want them to function, and also be aesthetically pleasing. So what's the requirements? Just to give you some limitations, and some areas to work within. We had a $15 budget per instrument. Each group had 3 to 4 instruments that would have to fit inside of a 2-foot cubic stage box. And of course, you're going to have to be able to perform the instrument so that's to function well enough to play one of the cover tracks, which should be interesting. And then, other material type of requirements as far as the length of pipe and length of wire. So in a nutshell, make it creative and unique, make it small, and make it work. Those were the 3 things we come back to every time we go through that design loop and make sure that it's meeting all the requirements. These were the 3 key elements for us. All right, let's get into the proposed design. I'll walk you through a little bit of the first instrument, which I was responsible for, which is the percussion jam block. So my goal was to create a medium pitch percussion jam block. I did a little bit of background research, and as far as the way they're typically supported, they're typically cantilevered. As you can see, there's a mounting hole in this area, and I wanted to give them something unique too. So I actually went ahead and put some of the ridges in here for the gyro type of percussion instrument, just to again give them something unique and versatile enough to be able to play in their band. So obviously still very small, roughly 3 to 4 inches in size. Some of the interesting facts about the route I decided to take on this particular piece, I had 2 options, which was starting as a block of either ABS or Delrin or something like that, machining out what I wanted, which can get kind of expensive, unless you have access to a machine shop. So one of the alternative solutions I found was going through 3D printing, which is also known as stereolithography. The most economic material to print in was PLA plastic. So I did a little bit of homework, going back and finding the velocity of sound through that material. And let's research on Matt Webb, for instance, the density of that material, and then let's have it quoted up. Let's see. Obviously, it meets the design criteria. Now, does it meet the cost criteria? And it does. You could actually get this printed and shipped for under $15. It's not a bad deal. So let's take a little bit of time to look at what drove that decision and make sure that it meets the specification. So fundamental frequencies, I actually tried to illustrate this in a graph. So along the x-axis, you're going to see the mode number, and along the y, you're going to see the frequency in hertz. So again, we were shooting for a medium pitch sound was the goal. The effects of the length on frequency, this is also interesting to note. What happens if we take half the length? So if we make that 2 inches, what happens is you get a higher pitch, right? So 1 times the length, which is 4 inches, gives us roughly 1100 hertz. If you double the length, we know that that's going to give us a lower tone. So again, if we look at the mode number and we also look at the length, all of these things affect the frequency ultimately that we're going to hear. So I chose one in between that should give me a medium pitch frequency once it's all said and done. That takes us into our next proposed design for the string instrument, which I will let our next team member explain a little bit more about. I hope you guys enjoyed that introduction to our design proposal. I'll let the other team members go ahead and finish up the wind and string instruments and bring you to our conclusions.